says, and the funny thing is, this dialogue is made famous in what's considered one of the greatest movies in American history, The Shawshank Redemption. Have you seen that?
Yes.
Yeah. So remember when you've seen that, right? Are you fairly familiar with it?
Yes.
Right. So remember when the warden he goes in and he says to Deschamps, the hero of the movie, he says, "Oh, good to see you reading the Bible. What's your favorite verse?" And Deschamps goes, "My favorite verse is Mark 13:35, right? Where it says that, watch ye, for ye know not when the master of the house cometh. Watch ye, for you do not know when the master of the house cometh, whether he comes in the morning, or in the evening, or in the dead of night, or when the rooster crows." The context for me, therefore, isn't that Jesus is claiming that he's not willing to declare it. He's claiming he doesn't know the hour. Just like the people who are waiting for the master to come to the house. They're claiming, we don't know when the master is going to come. We don't know whether he's going to come in the morning or in the evening. So Jesus is actually giving you a context here, which has it, that the only one who knows when the day of judgment is going to take place is the Father. Matthew 24:36 has the example of Noah. Noah gives the context where Noah says to his people, or his people are told, that they don't know when the flood is going to take place. They're doing their daily day-to-day activities and suddenly they're overtaken by the flood. That for me is again a proof that Jesus is saying that he doesn't know the hour, not that he's not willing to declare it. This apologetic that some of the Christians have put forth, that Jesus isn't willing to declare, goes against both the clear statements of the verse itself and the context. Jesus is saying, I don't know the hour, not in a declarative sense, but in a knowledge-based sense. Only the Father knows. So I think my question therefore stands. How is it therefore that as a Christian you can claim that Jesus is God, whilst Jesus is claiming that he doesn't know the hour? One of the qualities, of course, of God is that he has to be all knowledgeable. What would you say to that?
I would say that, I agree in a sense. Jesus is God and came down as a man, so he restricted himself in becoming man, because being man is restrictive compared to what he was before he became man.
Okay, that's interesting. Do you believe it's possible for God to restrict himself, given that he's all knowledgeable, all powerful? Do you think it's possible for God to say, I'm all powerful forever and ever, but for 33 years I'm not going to be all powerful? Do you think that makes sense?
I'd say so.
You would say so?
Yeah. A bit rusty here.
That's fine, but look,
that makes no sense.
Ask yourself the following. If I were to say to you that there is a being who's all knowledgeable forever and ever, there's never a moment where he can not be all knowledgeable, right? Do you believe that it's possible for something and its opposite to exist at the same time? For example, are you married by any chance? No, you seem quite young. But if I were to say to you, you're a married bachelor, would that make sense to you definitionally? Can a person be both married and not married at the same time?
I want to say no.
Yeah. Is it possible conceptually for a circle to be a square at the same time? Or will a circle always be a circle and a circle always be a square? Sorry, yeah. A square always be a square, right? Yeah. So when we understand truths, we have to understand them according to the idea that something cannot be opposite at the same time. If I'm alive, I can't be dead at the same time. When we claim that God is God, he can't be not God at the same time. So when we use these fundamental truths, these measurements for determining what truth is, we have to come away saying that anything that violates this fundamental principle, that's a very good way of determining that that thing cannot be true. Now, I think that's very reasonable for any human being, whether he's a professor or a person plowing the fields who's uneducated, to be able to use as a measurement for determining truth. If I believe God is all knowledgeable, there can never be a millisecond where he cannot be all knowledgeable. It violates that law of non-contradiction. That's what it's called, the law of non-contradiction, right? So, look, You and I, right at the beginning, we agree that Jesus is all knowledgeable. Sorry, God is all knowledgeable. Jesus, you've affirmed now, I'm hoping, is not all knowledgeable. The question then arises, how can you carry on believing that this man God is God? That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not going to push you on this.
No, it's
Right?
okay.
It's a bit of homework. Maybe go home and think about.
Yeah.
But when we Muslims, when we're calling people to Islam, we're calling them to a concept of God that is very, very easy to understand and clear. Truth is from the source of all truth. We refer to him by various names, one of which is Al-Haq, the truth. So the truth, he sends down the truth that should be clear and very narrow. Truth isn't like, it's not expansive, right?
Yeah.
You don't have shades of grey in truth,
Yeah.
do you? In the Quran, God says, we fling the truth against the falsehood, and the falsehood, it's destroyed. That's our understanding of truth. What's your name, by the way?
Ben.
Ben, Hamza.
Hamza.
Nice to meet you, mate. I appreciate your time as well.
I've got a question. You
Go
say
on.
that like God sent down truth and that it's like clear. I know there's verses in the Quran that say like the Quran is clear and concise and it's like easy to understand along those lines.
Well, chapter 3 of the Quran, God says that there are some verses that are unclear,
Yeah.
and there are some verses that are clear.
Okay.
As for those who have a disease in their heart,
Yeah.
so this is like a test, this verse, chapter 3, verse 7, I think it is. As for those who have a disease in the heart, they go after the unclear verses, right?
Yeah.
They look for the unclear verses. But as for those who are rasikhuna fil ilm, those who are well established within the religion, they take all of it, both the clear and the unclear. They take the clear to make the unclear clearer. So what God is saying here is that this is a verse that tests the integrity of a person. There are verses that are unclear, but they are clarified by the same subject in other areas of the Quran that clarify it. That's what it means. So it doesn't mean that the Quran came with just, it's not saying that the Quran has unclear verses therein. Those verses, they are expounded upon or expanded by other verses based upon the same subject. Like for instance, the Quran speaks about Moses in a very, very short and concise way. So if you're reading it, there may be some unclarity there, right? But then Moses is spoken about in various other places of the Quran, and that will expand upon it and add to what you might be unclear about. So it's all based upon how much knowledge you have of the Quran. If you're Hafiz of the Quran, you've memorized the entire Quran, you will not find any unclear verses. If you're ignorant of the Quran, you open it up, there may be things that you find unclear, but when you go to a scholar, he'll tell you, well, this verse is unclear to you, let me clarify for you, and he'll bring evidences. So that's how we understand it.
Obviously I don't know the verses off the top of my
No,
head.
no worries.
So I thought that the verses said the Quran, like in its entirety, is clear, and then the other verse said some things are unclear. So that's
Yeah, like I mentioned, the unclear verses are clarified by the clear verses. Because there are certain verses that speak about subject in passing, so they're brief, concise, but then in other areas the same subject is expounded upon. So that's how we would reconcile that verse and understand it correctly. But in terms of Ben, the truth that we're calling you to, if you become a Muslim, you're not losing out. In fact, what you're doing is you're rectifying the mistakes that came into the religion of Jesus. We believe that the reason why Jesus was deified is not because Jesus said so. Jesus makes it quite plain and obvious in the clear verses that he's not God. In his clear, unambiguous statement that you don't need to read into. Like for instance, John chapter 17 verse 3. And this is life eternal, that they may know the only true God and Jesus Christ whom thou hast sent. Now in that verse, it's obvious that Jesus is making a distinction between who? Only true God, Ben, and Jesus Christ, right? So he's saying that there's only one true God, and I'm certainly not it because I've made a distinction. So we would say when you look at the clear verses that Jesus came to proclaim, it places at the very least a huge question mark over the divinity of Jesus. We have a verse in the Quran where God speaks about the Day of Judgment, where a conversation, Ben, will take place between God and Jesus on the Day of Judgment. God will ask Jesus that, "Oh, Jesus, son of Mary, did you say to the people, take yourself and Mary as two gods besides Allah?" You know what Jesus' response is going to be? He will say, Subhanak, glorified be you. It was never for me to say that which I had no knowledge of. I never used, whilst I dwelt amongst them, you were a witness over me. But when you then took me up, you were a witness over them, and you alone are a witness over all things. I only told them what you taught me to say. Worship Allah, my Lord and your Lord. So we believe that Jesus' message is consistent with the message of all the prophets and messengers that came before him. Moses taught what? Moses, what was the first commandment that Moses taught his people? Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. You shall not worship the Lord your God in the form of graven images. The children of Israel never had this concept that God is going to become incarnate, let alone the Messiah that they were waiting for. He would become a man-God. That was something that was blasphemous for them. So we have all these prophets and messengers calling the people to the true worship of the one that Jesus called the Father. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. Thy will be, not my will. So Jesus is claiming his subordinacy to who? The Most High God, the Father. And the prophets and messengers, they came to teach this fundamental message, Ben. It doesn't make any sense that the prophets and messengers teach this fundamental concept of God, and then suddenly we're told Jesus comes along and says, well, you know what, you Jews, you almost got it right. God isn't, you claim that God is one. Well, he is one, but he's also three in one. And I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I'm actually God as well. And there's a third God called the Holy Spirit who came down in the form of a dove. It doesn't make any sense. Shall we tell you who made this mistake? It was a man who never met Jesus. St. Paul. The man who was, according to the writer of the book of Acts, Luke, he's walking down the road to Damascus to do what? To persecute the Christians. In other words, he's one of the worst individuals on the face of the earth. The only one who's worse is the one who killed the prophets. Oh, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, ye who kill the prophets and cast out the prophets, right? Says Jesus. But St. Paul is, I guess, a second rung. He's saying that he's going out to kill the followers, the true followers of Jesus. And then he claims he heard a voice, he saw a light, and this light is Jesus telling him to proclaim the new covenant. So we would say that a man who has not repented, a man who is one of the worst people on the face of the earth, who claims that he's receiving revelation from God, that cannot be revelation from God, that has to be revelation from the devil. And in the Quran, God tells us, he says, shall I inform you upon whom the devils descend? They descend upon every afakin athim, every lying, sinful individual. And St. Paul, there's no hint of St. Paul repenting. He claims, or the writer claims, he's walking down the road to Damascus. Lo and behold, he saw light, he heard a voice, and this is apparently God in the form of Jesus. We would say not only is this narratively, over the course of all the prophets and messengers, not only is this narratively inconsistent, but it goes against your rationale as well. So Islam is calling the Christians back to the true worship of God. Because look, in Genesis chapter 16, 21 and 22, God says that he's going to bless the seeds of Abraham, both Isaac and Ishmael. God also says on 3 separate occasions that Ishmael's seed is going to be a great nation, and we will establish for them an everlasting covenant. Ask yourself this, Ben, if God is all knowledgeable, and he knew that the seed of Ishmael are going to turn into idol worshippers, right? The Arabs who are going to turn into idol worshippers. Why would he call them a great nation and full stop? What would make that nation a great nation? Except that the reason why he blessed the seed of Isaac is the same reason why he blessed the seed of Ishmael. Through Isaac came many prophets. And that would make sense, therefore, in order for this great nation to be once again a great nation, that there would be a prophet that would arise. So we believe that Prophet Muhammad was the prophet that would complete the favor that God said to Ishmael. So our message to the Christians is, you want to become a true worshipper of Jesus and the prophets, true worshipper of God through Jesus and the other prophets, become a Muslim. Now the Prophet Muhammad, he said that there is not a Jew or a Christian who hears of my message and willfully rejects it, except that he will be the dweller of hellfire. But he gave glad tidings. He said, there is not a Jew or Christian who hears of this message and he accepts it, except that God will forgive all of his past deeds and he will take his good deeds and multiply it by a factor of 10 to 700 or even more. So the incentive is there. If you become a believer, because God knows you're going to give up on certain things, he incentivizes for the believers and facilitates for them coming into the religion of Islam. So God says to the Jews and the Christians that most certainly they have disbelieved who say that Jesus, son of Mary, is Allah. When he said, O children of Israel, worship Allah, my Lord and your Lord. If they do not desist in what they are saying, then most certainly a painful torment will overcome them, and they will have no helpers in hellfire. And then God continues and says, most certainly they have disbelieved then. Those who say that thalithu thalatha, that God is a third of three, i.e. a trinity. Right? God, when your God is one God. Similarly, God speaks to the Roman Catholics who have taken Mary and turned her into an intermediary with God. The idea of intermediaries doesn't exist in Islam. We don't take Muhammad as like an intermediary we have to confess our sins to or call upon Muhammad, upon whom be peace, to draw closer to God. We believe that God created us, then he knows us better than we know ourselves. He knows we're fallible. So that's why the Prophet said that every child is, all the children of Adam, they commit sins. We're all fallible, we all commit sins. But the best of us are those who turn to him in repentance. We all sin. All God wants us to do, then, is to turn to him sincerely by accepting the obvious truth and turning into a Muslim. A Muslim means what, Ben? You know what it means? The one who submits his will to the will of God. So for us, Jesus was the best of the Muslims. You know why? Because he was a prophet. No one submits more than the prophets of God. Jesus says in John chapter 5 verse 30, I cannot of my own self do nothing. I hear as I judge, and my judgment is just, for I seek not my own will, but the will of the one that sent me. Look at that. Not my will. What does it say in the Father's prayer? Not as my will, but as your will be done. So even Jesus' will is subordinate to the will of God. Why? Because Jesus, like us, like a monkey or a cow or a dove, dare I say a dove, these things are not God. They're contingent. They're dependent upon God. So things that are dependent upon God are not worthy of being worshipped. That's the clear message of the prophets and messengers. You do not worship anything from creation. You only direct your worship to the one who is the all-hearing, the all-seeing. That's why God says, call upon me, I will answer your call. But you have to call upon him with a certain level of correct faith. Because the Hindu calls upon God, the Sikh calls upon God. And God doesn't respond to anyone and everyone. He responds to those who call upon him correctly. So how do we understand who God is? As a Muslim, we can't put forward a concept of God other than this beautiful verse in the Quran in chapter 112 called the purity. It encompasses who God is without any mysteries or paradoxes or contradictions. It says, say he is Allah, the one and only. The one here then means indivisible. You can't chop him up. You can't say he's 2 or 3 or 10 or 330 million. Allahu Samad. Allah, he is the self-subsisting, the one who is the necessary being who doesn't require anything from anyone. If we find that God requires something from someone, right, like a man God or a woman God requiring to eat, and if they don't eat, they'll die, or they may suffer from some type of mental impairment, you know that thing can't be God. I mean, it's obvious. You know what? You're weak like me. Why should I be worshipping you? I'm not going to worship you. Lam yalid, he begets not. God doesn't beget. He doesn't produce anything from himself. Walam yulad, nor is he begotten. If we find that God is dependent upon something, like the Son proceeds from the Father, that's a dependency. Meaning that the Son eternally proceeds from the Father? He's begotten of the Father? We would say no. That's why God, in this surah, he says, if you believe God is one, you believe that he is the self-subsistent who requires nothing necessary, he begets not, nor is he begotten. The only conclusion you can come to is, وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. There's nothing comparable unto him. There's no man, no woman, no animal, no rock comparable unto him. which is the reason why Shema Israela Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. He was one for the children of Israel. He was one for the followers of Ishmael. When they became idol worshippers, God sent his final messenger with the complete truth. Because the children of Israel, they weren't sent prophets and messengers for the entirety of mankind. They were sent prophets and messengers for the children of Israel. Right? And Jesus hints at this in the Bible. He says, I have not been sent but unto the sheep of the house of Israel. Do not take the crumbs from the master's table and cast it to the dogs. Who are the dogs? The Gentiles. So there's hints in the Bible that we would say that this is in accordance with Islam, where Jesus clearly states that he only came to the children of Israel. But there was a prophet to come after the children of Israel denied Jesus. God said, enough is enough. And so he transferred that favor over to Ishmael's side, thereby fulfilling the promise that he gave in Genesis chapter 16, that we will make you a great nation. So our invitation to you, Ben, would be look into Islam, and you'll find the solutions to the problems that Christianity, specifically the Pauline movement, ended up entering into the religion of Christ. Yeah? Any questions?
I don't think so.
Yeah?
It's interesting listening to that.
No worries.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, we're here, so feel free to ask.
That's all good.
No worries, mate.
Appreciate it.
Listen, I appreciate your time, all right?
Thank you.
All the best. No worries.